Hey there guys, Dragon Master here, and I want to welcome you to Star Wars and Earth Legends Episode 10, Alliances Fractured. So, I don't really have anything to say, so really without further ado, let's get straight into the video. We start off with a special Terran intelligence agent officer. He has been currently sent to investigate Corellia, infiltrate Corellia, as for the past, well, I guess 4 years after the Swarm or Bug Wars ended, the New Republic has passed a few new laws, which have affected local systems, and with the Yuuzhan Vong War, some systems have the opportunity to become independent. Corellia is one of these main systems. This agent has been sent along with Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker's wife, to come with him, as they have both been sent respectively from both the New Republic, New Jedi Order, and the Terrans. They would take a special stealth ship and arrive at Corellia, where they would move in secret at the night, and then they would find a secret compound. From what their intelligence says that many materials, raw materials have been moved to this, along with many workers having been sent here. Mara and him have a quick conversation. He explains that they must be careful and to be vigilant at all times. Mara Jade argues, explaining that another reason she was sent on this mission was to find her nephew. The agent listens and sees that Mara Jade is very worried for her nephew, as she explains how he's been missing for a few weeks now and only comes and contacts his family every once in a while, which is not exactly a normal behavior, it's just that he's been acting very strange. The Terran agent also ponders this and wonders. He says. He decides to send this in his report and mention it to his higher-ups. So then they decide to then try and sneak into the facility while it's less guarded. After a few hours, they're successfully able to infiltrate the factory, and what they see is surprising for Mara, but not that much for the agent. They see dozens of starships being built in secret against the new laws that the New Republic has placed for systems, trying to limit the expansion of certain militaries. Of course, Corellia has always been independent from the Republic, always had their own patriotism for it, so they would be less than pleased with this. Seeing as seeing all this and recording all this, they decide they immediately need to go, but Mara still wanted to find her nephew. Ginjin ponders and decides to try and set up a security camera to watch. They set up a small little spider drone bot, something new the Terrans have been working on, and send it off. They immediately get out and then hide back to their original position before they find a much more secure location and spy on the bot. The bot moves across the factory, seeing many ships that the Terran agent recognizes as fighters to cruisers to transports. It looks like the Corellians are preparing for war, and he wonders this. He also sees a conversation going on with two hooded figures and one of the Corellian council leadersmen. The councilman explains to the two hooded figures that they are ready to use Centerpoint Station against the New Republic if it comes to war. One of the hooded figures chuckles and explains that it most likely will come to war. The hooded figure then even makes a mocking gesture, explaining how the New Republic are fools, but they aren't that stupid, and they will most likely try to attack. The other hooded figure, which the special Terran agent can tell, is brooding, almost like pondering this, and explains that he does not want to go to war, but they might have no choice. Seeing this, The councilman explains that they are ready to move on to phase 2 of their operations. The two hooded figures nod at this and head off. But one of the hooded figures stops and senses something. He immediately looks over and, he hums, before using a force pull and grabbing onto something. He then grabs the drone before smashing it. The Terran agent curses, along with Mara Jade, and immediately leave. They immediately notice the next day that the Corellians have been warned along with those hooded figures and have increased patrols, and now are on the lookout. They immediately get a signal out to the New Republic, New Jedi Order, and the Terrans, and explain with urgency about what is going on. The New Republic ponders what to do while the Terrans immediately spring into action. They know the power of Centerport Station and are very fearful. They immediately begin devising to get a fleet together. They explain that they'll be there in a few hours. And then, in a few hours later, a Terran fleet immediately drops into the Corellian system. The admiral of the vessel immediately contacts the Corellian Council and explains that they are here to stop whatever they're doing. The Corellian councilman is surprised and asks why they are here, and explains that they are surprised to see the Terrans, as they thought they had a good relationship. That the Terrans and Corellians were good allies and had helped them during the Empire. The Admiral explains that this is true, but they need them to stop. The Corellian High Council, I guess Council, looks at each other before deciding that they cannot, as that this new law would limit the Corellian system and even cost them, and could even destroy their business, their entire livelihoods of what their planet makes, their economy. The Terran Admiral tries to explain that they'll try and explain this to the Senate, but the councilman shakes their heads, explaining no, and that it sadly must come to war if it must. They immediately disconnect the call. The Admiral is frustrated before telling, with a heavy heart, to attack. And then the battle against the Corellians from the Terrans begins. The Corellians and Terrans battle over space, using many of the vessels they had built in secret to attack. It becomes a bloodbath, as both sides tear into each other. Mara Jade and immediately the Terran agent move in, and they meet up with a special strike squad that had arrived. Consist of this strike squad was at least two hooded Jedi. They immediately come with Mara Jade and the Terran special squad and the agent go to storm where the hooded figures were last seen. They immediately make it their way and find them at a public spaceport that has been evacuated. Mara Jade screams to the hooded figures to stop as she ignites her purple lightsaber and explains that they have no choice but to surrender, as they have them outnumbered. The Terran squad consists of 12 troops, and there are 2 Jedi along with a Terran agent. They are outnumbered 1 to 10. The two hooded figures look at each other before chuckling. Before explaining that they do not know the true power that they are about to face, and that they are surprised to see Mara Jade here. She then demands to know who they are. The hooded figures look at each other and nod, before they reveal their cloaks. The first one reveals their face, and Mara Jade is not too surprised to see it is a Sith assassin known as Luminaris. I don't really know her name to pronounce it. She and Luke had dated for a bit and even fallen in love a bit before she tried to kill him. But she was wounded from what she heard from a TIE fighter. Well, a TIE fighter explosion, as the Terrans had shot down a TIE fighter over a battle, and it had crashed upon her. From what Terran intelligence said, that she had grown a deep hatred for them afterwards, and Luke, as she was being rebuilt by the Emperor and Darth Vader. But the next hooded figure they looked over was a surprise to many others. Basically everyone. And when Mara Jade saw this, she gasped and was heartbroken to see that it was her nephew, Jacen Solo. But this was not the nephew she knew, because he had red, glowing eyes. and he also had a frown upon his face. And that is where we're gonna leave it off. This was the finale for Star Wars and Legends of Earth. So for the next series, I'm sort of gonna sort of ask you guys in the comments to more or less like say which series you want to do. Well, for the next series, I have two choices. The first one is Star Wars and Earth Mandalorian Season 2, and the other one is a continuation of this, well, I guess of this storyline. There's gonna be a whole new series, well, I guess a new series for this one. It's gonna be called Star Wars and Earth Fractured. So I'm really basically asking you guys to comment down below. If you guys don't, I'll just decide myself, but I'm giving you the choice. So I guess without further ado, goodbye.